everybody! So it is time today for part 8 of our WHOOPA CAL, our 10-day WHOOPA CAL. So we are close to the end. Today we are going to be making the ribbing on the bottom of the cardigan. And this is actually like this part. I'm just going to take mine off and show you a bit. These bits now, once I finish the front panels and I just have all the ribbing just to frame it all up, this is my absolute favorite bit. So now we are making this part here. You see, just the big ribbing here all along the bottom sides of the cardigan, which really gives it this lovely cozy slouchy look. And then tomorrow we're gonna do the lists all up here, you see. And like, honestly, this bit is my favorite because you've done all the body of the cardigan and now you're just framing it up, and it's so easy just to do the ripping stitch back and forth, back and forth. So let's get to it. Let's do this. It's the ripping part 8. Just 2 more to go. Whoop whoop. Okay, we're up to part 8. Oh my god, this is going by fast. So we are now going to work the ribbing all here over the bottom bit of our cardigan. Before we start that, we have to do a foundation row over the edge with a single crochet stitch. And we will start both the ribbing and this first single crochet foundation row here from the right side here at the beginning here, when looking down at your cardigan, okay? From the corner right here where we ended at the last row of the front panel, okay? So to show you this before I start, because we have to do this all from both these will have to be from the right side. So, sorry. Now we do the foundation row, and now we are going to switch to a 6mm hook. Okay, so what we do is we find this bit here that I was showing you at the bottom here of the right side panel corner here when we were looking down at it. Okay, so I am just going to fasten my yarn here into the chain 2 here at the end and do 1 chain to fasten. And what we are going to do, I was find a rhythm in this. How am I going to just 1, 2? So we're going to work 3 single crochet stitches over each 2 rows. So this here, you just count the rows by counting these ridges here, right? So the first one here should just be in actually where we started here. So we start by doing a single crochet here just at the very start into the first one, and then I am going to make 1 single crochet here in between these 2 first ones, just in the edge here, and 1 into remember when we worked over the edge of the back line, I'm going to be working into those stitches here, the last stitch here of the ridge, and I try to go into sort of the end bit here as well. Okay, 1 single crochet here. Okay, so we have now done 3 over the first 2 rows. Okay, and you see how the ridges are sort of in a way that some are closer. These 2 are closer together than these 2. So I try to just do 3 over the 2 here that are not close together, right? And then I don't do anything in between these 2 here. Okay, this is again not an exact science. If you want it to be a straight down, like my cardigans are, according to the pattern, you want the ribbing to just go straight down and be the same width as the body of the cardigan, then you have to do 3 over each 2. If you want it to go together and be like tight at the bottom, then you could do just 1 into each, which would obviously be a bit easier, but okay, so now I've done 3, and I'm going to do another 3 over these 2 rows here. So I do 1 into the last stitch here, just into the eye of the stitch. One into the border here in between, and 1 into the next eye. Okay, so just go on like this. And now I don't do anything here in between. I do one here, one into the border, and one into the next one. Okay, so it's always 3 over each 2 rows. Do, 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 do. So now I go into the next eye. One into the in between, and one into the eye. Okay, and now we get to the bit here. Do, 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 do. One here. Next eye, one in between, and one into the eye. So you just continue doing this the whole way, trying to keep it as even as possible and neat. If you find another way you want to do it, just 3 over each 2 rows. So 3 single crochet stitches per 2 rows. And again, you can see the rows here by the little braids. Okay, so you do this and go all the way over to the other side, and then I'll show you how to start the ribbing. Okay, so I've done my foundation row of single crochets here all over the bottom of the cardigan. So in theory, you want to end up with an even number amount of stitches. To be honest, I don't really count these. The ribbing is like, you need a repetition of 2 for the ribbing. So if at some point I have to skip 1 stitch to get there, I'm fine with it. But again, it's obviously it's everyone does it his own way, his or hers or their own way. And if you want to be precise, you can be precise, and that's fine too. If you want to be a bit of a, like me, that's okay, fine. Just, do it your way. But I'm saying, like, this is not going to alter anything, really. So, 3 single crochets per two rows, approximately. When I get here to the end, I'm just going to cut the yarn and pull it here once through. And then we start again from the other end with the ribbing. So now we are going to do, if I write it here on a little sticker for us, the bottom ribbing. And this is one of my favorite parts. These 2 parts, like 8 and 9, are my favorites because we're doing all the ribbing. We're like framing it all up. I love it. So we're going to do the ribbing now. And it's really easy because we've done it before with the sleeves. So we start again here at the same spot that we started. And again, we use the 9mm hook, the 6mm hook. And we are going to work into both loops here. Sometimes I will work only into the back loop. Yeah, like I said, you can either go into the back or both or back. I think I'm going to go into the back of this one. So, but if you want, you can go into both. So we just fasten our yarn here into the first single crochet that we worked, and we chain up 11 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then we are going to work 10 stitch ribbing here. Okay, so we skip the first stitch and into the next one. This is the same as the sleeves. We work 10 single crochets back, just 1 into each and every chain we just made. I'm not going to do this very slowly because we already did the ribbing. You know how to do this. You got this. Actually, when I think about it now, like, I'm always going to go 2 stitches ahead. And then you shouldn't have an even number. You should have 1 extra. But I mean, like I said, 1 or 2 isn't gonna, it's just, I know, because I go into this one. Okay, so Great to have me show you this very explicitly and just winging it. So I go into the last one here, and now we go into this same stitch here, and we do the one that we fasten into, and we're going to do one slip stitch here, finish the 10 single crochets, one slip stitch here, and one slip stitch into the next of the single crochets here, right? And now I'm going to turn. And now comes the repeat for the whole of the ribbing. We're always working into the back loop here. So we're going to skip the 2 slip stitches, go into the 3rd stitch and work single crochet, always into the back loop. The ribbing is all back loop. 10 single crochets here, 1 in each stitch. Nine and 10. And then we chain and turn, and we're not going to work into that chain. Where am I here? Turn here. So when you're working a ribbing, if you're left-handed, you just want to take care to be working from the right side of the fabric, like that. You start like this, okay? Okay. And we're not going to work into the chain, that's just the turning chain. So this was row 2, and I'm going to do row 3 now. Skip the chain into the back loop here, and you work 10 single crochets back. Just 1 into each and every back loop. Yep. Like so. And the only thing here, sometimes you will not, like the last one is a bit obscure sometimes. So you want to count just to be sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. And then you see here we already went into this one here. So I'm going to go into the next one and do my 2 slip stitches, 1 and 2. And then you just repeat rows 2 and 3 all the way through, and you see we are adding, I think it's about 10 centimeters here. That is how much? 4 inches to the length of the sweater. You can do this shorter or longer if you want. Okay, and now you just repeat 2 and 3 for the rest, just until you get to the other side. I'm going to do it just one more repeat with you. So here we turn, we skip the 2 slip stitches, go into the 3rd stitch here, back loop, 1 single crochet, and then 9 more single crochets. Oh, I love this part. It's so relaxing, and you don't have to count anything or do anything, or just and it really frames it up. And then up the lists, up the panels, and the back. Oh, just this is my favorite bit. And you really, like, you're so close to finishing now. Stop talking. 10 single crochets, 1 chain, whoopa, turn. And we work back up again to the sweater. So we skip the chain, and into the back loop we do 10 single crochets, and then you're getting this ribbing here. This is exactly the same as we've already done on the sleeves, so you know exactly what we're supposed to be doing. And the only thing here again is like the last one here, next up to where we get up to the sweater again, is a bit obscure. Sometimes it's a bit small, so every now and again I'll count. If I'm a bit off, I'll just add 1. I mean, and so when you go and do the 2 slip stitches after you finish the row, just take care to check here, like this one we already worked into. If we pull at it, we see that opens up. So we're going into the next one. I'm doing into the back loops only here, and do 2 slip stitches here. And so when you go only into the back loop, then you will leave this little line here in between the fabric of the sweater and this. You can also go into both loops if you want. That's a matter of taste. So this is how it's supposed to look here now. 10 centimeter ribbing here on all over the bottom of it. So when you get to the other sides, and yeah, so what I was saying, like if you have 1 stitch extra or 1 too less, then at one point you can just, instead of doing 2 slip stitches here, you can just do 1. Okay? Just don't tell anybody. Especially not Sue and Suey. Okay, so you just continue here. I'm going to do so myself. Watch maybe even a movie. And just all the way over the bottom and over this foundation row here that we did over to the other end. And do not cut at the other end. I will get back to you at the other end and show you how we finish there. The ribbing at the bottom. Whoop whoop, let's go. Okay, so we continue with the ribbing. I have done all along the bottom side of the cardigan now. Whoop, all the same as I showed you. I was just going to show you a couple of last rows as well. So mine was purely by accident. Fit an even number, so I have 2 here left. If you just have 1, then maybe just at some point before getting here, just instead of doing, remember the 2 slip stitches to fasten it to the sweater, just do 1 and skip that and go back. You know, it's no biggie. But I have done my last row down here, and I have 2 more stitches left, so I'm just going to do 2 slip stitches here into 1 of each of these last stitches, right? And I turn and I do my last row here. I skip the slip stitches and do 10 single crochets back down away from the sweater, like so. And here we are at the end, and then you can see that we have the end of the ribbing here. It is supposed to pull it just a bit together, so there we go. And do not cut your yarn, because we are going to continue straight on here to do the lists up. Okay, so that was it for the ribbing, and we have done part 8. And next we're going to do the lists up, which is just like these 2 parts, like the ribbing on the bottom and the list up, are just my absolute favorite, because it's really just like the final touches, and it's so fun. You don't have to think at all, and you're really framing it in, and it's just like, we're almost there. Okay, I'm gonna stop blathering. Go with the ribbing, and I'll see you tomorrow with the ribbing lists and the buttonholes and stuff. Whoop whoop.